Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Going into the year, people are like, Bombers are old now. They're all 30-plus. They're an old team. Did you guys hear that noise, and did it motivate you at all? Or is there something else that motivates Willie Jefferson?
The hate is always going to be a motivation for anybody that wants to move forward or succeed in any occupation or any endeavor or whatever it may be. You always want somebody to talk down on you so you can prove them wrong and things like that. But you always gonna have that. But the only thing that motivates me is just being great in my family. Trying to show my wife, my daughters, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, friends, my city, my state, anybody like the young kids from my city, from my state, from anywhere that grew up like I grew up, that wants to be, a football player or a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or anything you want to be. Like, you just gotta wake up and want to be great and not settle for less, not settle for mediocrity, and be that. I love my family. I love my city. I love my state. I love the CFL. I love my coaches. I love my teammates. These are the things that motivate me every day. As long as I can have those people behind me, I can wake up and I know I can be great, and they're going to love me.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
You all didn't know the old me, that for 40 years, Darren, I was a kamikaze. The fact that I'm alive is a miracle.
how about that?
I've ridden steers, jumped off cliffs, been shot and been shot at, and I survived it all.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Rick Regan. Hello, everybody. Get on up inside Canada's daytime sports talk show here on the Game Plus television network, but we're also on the air in 32 U.S. states here on Game Plus, including New Jersey. And let's drop in Jersey right now, the Garden State, as Jersey Jim joins us from there in place of Darren Moose DuPont, who is hitting the links already out in Palm Desert, California. Moose sends his regards. He won't be on the program today for the next 2 hours, nor at all. Jimmy, how are you, buddy? What's up in Jersey today?
Hey, Roddy, thanks for having me on. Good to be here. Good to be back. Great state of New Jersey. It's not bad out. Weather's finally turning, so looks like spring's here, and I know people are going to hit the links in New Jersey as well.
Good. Well, I'll tell you, Arash Madani is going to be with us coming up in hour two, formerly Canada's Reporter of the Year. He could win it every year if he really wanted to, but Arash Madani will be with us in hour two. Those are the guests. Boys, can you hit the Quick Six show horn, and we'll fire it up? I apologize to Jim because he logged in about 15 minutes prior to the show. And as we were visiting a little bit, I was a little distracted because I was kind of typing up the script for the Quick Six show topics here. But Jim, what did I say to you? There doesn't need to be a whole lot of typing. Number one, the big story is NHL leftovers from last night. And then we're very quickly going to flip it over to tonight, because they're vibrating in places like Minnesota, where the Wild can clinch with a win tonight. Calgary, where they can keep their playoff hopes alive and still get into the playoff. The Calgary Flames, down to the final 2 games of the regular season. They got a chance. But let's just walk it back last night, Jim. I did write a couple of things down here. Frank Nazar scored in the shootout, and the visiting Chicago Blackhawks edged the Montreal Canadiens 4-3 in the Bell Center. Lucas Reichel, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Nazar scored in regulation for the Hawks, while Ivan Demidov, making his NHL debut, had a goal and an assist for the Canadiens. So let's just stop, put it in park, and sit here for a second and talk about this game. We listened to the shootout coming home from the Panthers-Rangers game here last night. Unfortunate the Habs couldn't pull it out to clinch, Jimmy. But Demidov, I'm right here, going to make a public apology to Brian from Hudson's Bay, who texted in and talked about Demidov like he was going to be the next Mario Lemieux. And I'm like, pipe down. It's going to be his first game. Well, he only tied an NHL record with 2 points in a period. Best ever start for a rookie. He looked okay, Jim. What'd you think of Ivan Demidov last night?
Yeah, he looked really good. I mean, that first period, what a debut for him, right? A goal and an assist. I mean, the pass to Newhook to set up the opening goal was unbelievable. Great skill, vision on the ice, and obviously getting the puck into the zone, putting it between his legs on the Chicago defense was great. And then obviously the great pass in Matheson, he gets it and gets the Bell Center erupting, right? That felt like the place was going to blow the roof off the Bell Center last night. And you saw Montreal had all the momentum, 2-0. It's like, okay, well, looks like they're going to clinch tonight. But we've seen this script before with the Chicago Blackhawks. A couple of years ago, they're the reason why the Florida Panthers got into the playoffs, because they knocked out the Pittsburgh Penguins late in the regular season. And, you know, they hard-fought game. And, again, questionable, controversial shootout. The puck in the net, they didn't review it. Line A, did he lose the puck? Didn't he lose the puck? Again, I'm not a fan of the skills competition to end games, considering regulation wins is what is the tiebreaker in the National Hockey League when teams are tied in points. So, again, the skills competition to me is a way we need to finish games. This is what the NHL has said since the 04-05 lockout. Whether I like it or not, it doesn't matter. It went to a shootout. Chicago found a way, and Montreal picked up a crucial point. But, again, they had destiny in their hands up 2-0, and it felt like they took the gas off a little bit.
Yeah, Jersey Jim, by the way, covers the NHL for NHL Full Press, and I was just looking up to see if Bedard played, because, again, we were at the Panthers game, wasn't watching it, was a little shocked Bedard didn't shoot in the shootout, but it didn't matter because they won anyways. But, again, public apology here, because I said Ivan Demidov, how much can we expect of this guy? And he has, as I heard Gord Stellick say this morning on NHL radio, he had 2 points in actually like 5 minutes, which is an NHL record for a debut. In a period, 2 points is a record. But just here's what's fun about sports. For those, the games are fun, but the backstory is real fun. I know for a fact, Jim, you were in Vegas at the Sphere when Ivan Demidov went 5th overall to Montreal, and that was the pick that Celine Dion made for the Habs. Am I right? Just take me back to the Sphere and them taking Ivan Demidov with the 5th overall pick, the Canadians.
Yeah, so Celine Dion did make the pick. It was really cool to see her come out at the Sphere, make the pick for the Canadians. Place went nuts. Really cool by Kent Hughes and the Canadians organization to get her. And there was a lot of speculation in that draft, too, because, right, Chicago was trying to trade up, maybe with Columbus, try to see if they can get in Demidov. Remember, Chicago was trying to get the 4th overall pick to take him, try to add some more depth around Connor Bedard. They didn't. Montreal was maybe potentially going to get Trevor Zegras at the draft at one of their later picks. Wasn't sure if it was going to be the 5th overall, but Demidov falls to them at 5. And, look, they made a great pick. He was developing in the KHL. He comes over. Many people weren't sure if he was going to be over this season. He gets out of his contract, and he scores 2 points in his first 5 shifts in the first period. Just a great debut for him. And he didn't look out of place. I will say, as the game dragged on, you could tell that the speed of the game and the speed of the NHL was catching up. His foot speed just wasn't there, especially on the Lucas Reichel goal. I could see a little bit of gliding. He probably, if he had a little bit more seasoning in the NHL, a couple of preseason games, those legs are moving a little bit to try to stop him from scoring. But again, it's something that's going to come. He hasn't played in the NHL, and this is his warm-up before potentially the playoffs for the Canadians.
I got a lot of Hab fan friends that know that I'm a Hab backer, and I would have been happy had Montreal clinched last night. They were very devastated that they didn't, but they have a chance tomorrow night against Carolina. From the audience, Jeremy's watching in Winnipeg. He says, Demidov, phew, quite the show. Kevin the Medium has tuned in from Calgary. Kevin the Medium. He says, good morning, RP peeps. Happy Taco Tuesday. Don't make me so hungry yet, Kev. I don't want to think about lunch just yet. And we will get, I know that they're vibrating in Calgary, so everybody don't get your panties in a bunch. We're coming around to tonight's games in a second. David, number 1 in Winnipeg, writes in. He says, Jersey Jim, let's go. He's got questions for you, but we're not there yet, David, number 1. We're not taking audience questions yet. We'll get to them, though. I was listening to NHL. See how geeked up everybody is? I love it. Junior hockey, Frozen 4. This is the best time. Falls for football, but football needs to get to the back of the line because the spring is for hockey. And so I was listening to Don Granato this morning on NHL radio, the former Sabres coach. I want your take on this, Jim. Gordy Stellick said to him last night, what was your take on the games last night, Don? He goes, there's a whole lot of bored teams that can't wait for the playoffs. And I'm like, well, I know one. The Florida Panthers, who sat their entire third line last night, Anton Lundell's line against the Rangers, and they lost 5-3. I got Dallas Stars fans blowing up my phone because my dad, worked for them for 26 years, and people think I still care about the Stars, and I don't. But they lost to Detroit. And Don Granato said it. These teams are bored. Dallas, bored. Colorado, bored. Florida, bored. Edmonton, beat up. We won't go there. Leafs, a little bored. Florida's been bored since January, Jim. And I'm just glad that Don Granato pointed it out, because when I say it, I'm an asshole. But when a former NHL coach says it, everybody agrees. Oh, okay. Do you see that with some teams?
I think the season's dragging. It's definitely dragging right now. Usually we have the drag time in March, the days of March and February. But again, everybody has to remember, we took time off, right? We had the Four Nations face-off. We had a 2-week break. We're going to have it again next year because of the Olympics, and it's going to happen again in 2028 because every couple of years we're going to have international hockey. Does the season need to start sooner? Absolutely. They're not playing less regular season games. I hate to say it. I hate to break it to people. We're not going to 72 games. It's not going to happen, revenue and everything like that. But I can see it. There's some teams that are just waiting for the playoffs to start. I get it. And everybody, even people in New Jersey, are freaking out a little bit. Hey, they're not playing great. To me, for New Jersey, on their perspective, they need to start playing with more consistency heading into the playoffs. The effort's just not there. A couple of guys are playing well. The whole team needs to click, because out of the top 3 teams in the Metro, Washington, Carolina, and New Jersey, even though they all have poor records over the last 10 games, Carolina has looked the best and felt the best. Meanwhile, Washington's kind of really dipped and come back to earth because of the Ovi stuff, and it feels like he's the only one scoring goals right now for them. Florida, they just want to get to the playoffs. We know that. Matthew Tkachuk and everybody will be back. They're going to just be ready to whoever they play. Toronto has to play for something. They have to play for the division. So they have to get up for these games a little bit. But if they clinch, then they'll be like, should we rest some guys? LA's finally clinched home ice against Edmonton. So are they going to rest guys in their final game against Calgary? That's something that we're going to see. We're seeing more load management now because stuff has been clinched so early that teams are resting players, and it's something that I would have never thought I would have seen in the National Hockey League because players want to play. That's what we always heard.
It feels fairly new, but I haven't heard any complaining at all from the fans. By the way, Clark, if you don't mind, I put a photo in the WhatsApp from last night's Panthers game here, and I'd like to show it here before we move on too far down the line. I hear it from NBA fans. I see it. I've got friends who have gone to NBA games, and the Greek Freak didn't play in Milwaukee, or, AD didn't play in Dallas, or you name it, right? But for hockey fans, I haven't seen anybody bitch. And when you sit back and think about it, it doesn't say on your ticket that you're entitled to see the Stars. So it's kind of just the sucks to be you thing. Before we move on and look at tonight's games, Clark, were you able to find the photo? It's not working, but at some point we'll dig it up. One thing before we move on to tonight's games, because again, they're vibrating in Minnesota and in Calgary and in various places. But Brett in Winnipeg writes in, 902-518-3033 is the text line for Progressive Insurance. Switch to Progressive and you could save a bunch. Our poll question yesterday was, will the Jets suffer from the President's Trophy curse? Brett writes in and he says, the idea of a President's Trophy curse is ridiculous. Of the 16 qualifying teams, the first-place teams have 9 wins compared to all other qualifiers. It is most likely to win. I don't even know what that means from Brett in Winnipeg. And it's like, again, let's not get our knickers in a knot. Whether you want to call it a curse or I believe in curses. I may have been subject to some in my life, right, Kevin the Medium? Yeah, if you win the President's Trophy, I will call it a curse. No team has won the President's Trophy and gone on to win the Stanley Cup since the 2013 Chicago Blackhawks. Jim, it's a thing. Don't get upset in Winnipeg that I'm just giving you the facts. Don't shoot the damn messenger. Now, is it a coincidence that the team that finishes first in the regular season doesn't win the Stanley Cup? Yeah, they're going against 15 other teams. I understand that. But 12 straight years? I don't think that's a coincidence, Jimmy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think it's not a coincidence, right? We saw it, the SI, SI has the Sports Illustrated curse, the Madden curse, right? Guys are on the cover. They don't have great seasons. That's a thing, right? Like, for some reason in hockey, we have rituals, superstitions, all that stuff. And the President's Trophy is a thing. Before Chicago, it was the 02 Detroit Red Wings. Before that, it was the 94 Rangers. Like, there's something about winning the President's Trophy. And look, hats off to the Winnipeg Jets. They've done really good this year. Connor Hellebuck going to win the Vezina. He'll probably be in one of the top 3 candidates, or should be one of the top 3 candidates for the Hart Trophy in the NHL because of what he means to that team. What Scott Arniel has done as a coach, going to be up for the Jack Adams Award. How Kevin Cheveldayoff has exorcised the demons of the Winnipeg Jets from years gone by. They are a team and they are a cohesive unit. And to me, if they don't make a deep playoff run, it is going to be a disappointment. And they are a really good team, but there is something to be said about winning the President's Trophy and not winning the Stanley Cup. It's just a thing, and we don't know why. It's like a Peter Laviolette second year thing. We just don't know why. It just happens, and that's hockey, and that's why we love it.
Kevin the Medium writes in regarding the curse, and is it a thing, is it not? Kevin the Medium writes, and he says, I stand by that the universe is a little busy to worry about a sports stat. LOL. Oh, come on, Kev. Stop. Oh, come on. It's not too busy at all. It reminds me of a conversation I had with my daughter when she was in middle school, the A train. We were talking about God. I said, do you think God has time to look into everybody's lives? It's a lot of people on this earth. She goes, the sun shines on everybody, Dad. I'll shut up now.
But that.
The universe has time, Kev. God has time for us all. The universe has time for sports. Shame on you. I want to throw in a baseball thing before we break and come back and talk about tonight's NHL games. 10 tonight. Austin Riley had 2 home runs and 5 RBIs, and Sean Murphy hit a 2-run homer as the visiting Atlanta Braves roughed up Toronto starter Easton Lucas and whipped the Blue Jays 8-4 in MLB action. Bo and Vladdy won a combined 0 for 8 at the plate. Easton Lucas gave up 8 runs and 6 hits in 5 innings of work. Oh, well, we'll get him tonight. We got a poll question to get to, more hockey, and Jimmy wants to talk some NFL football before we let him go. So we'll be right back. We're live here on the Game Plus Television Network, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We're broadcasting from Studio 23, brought to you in part by Culligan Water. Drink clean, live green, filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. It's another game day in Florida. Oh, the state of hockey. Let's bring in Jersey Jim. It's the Panthers at the Lightning tonight, and it's huge, and we're going to get to that right away. It was Jim coined the phrase, the state of hockey, Florida, and nobody argued it. But I gotta jam this in here, Jim. The NBA's play-in tournament starts tonight. 7th seed Orlando hosts number 8 Atlanta in the East, while number 7 Golden State welcomes number 8 Memphis in the West. The winners of those games will make the playoffs. The losers play the victors of tomorrow's 9 versus 10 games. And that's the poll question today for EMJ Marketing. Let EMJ Marketing transform your event with an all-star keynote speaker from their roster. Look it up at emjmarketing.com and then contact Joe there. Are you into the NBA playoffs? For me, it's a yes. For Jim, it's a no. He told me. And Ted in Red Deer writes in and says on the poll, he goes, 83% not into the NBA playoffs. Wow, I'm in the right place. So, yeah. Other Canadian networks can pretend that Canadians care about the NBA playoffs, but they don't if the Raptors aren't in them. So, and if with regards to the universe and the President's Trophy curse and whatever, Kevin the Medium writes in and says, God isn't a hockey fan. LOL. He's a BC Lions fan. Okay, where was he last November, Kev? Did he take the month off? Come on. And Bomber Boy is watching in Calgary, and he says, do we not understand what a curse around here is? The Leafs are cursed. The President's Trophy is not. Do you think the Leafs are cursed, Jim? How do you think this spring's going to play out?
They better win in the first round of the playoffs, or it's going to be a long, long time, right? Like, since they're going to win a Stanley Cup. 67, right, is the last time they won a Stanley Cup. Everybody's chomping at the bit. They need to win the Stanley Cup. They need to make a deep run. We've been hearing this since Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Tavares have all been there. They have to get out of the first round. One first round since 2004 was 2023 when they beat the Lightning. Then they laid an egg against the Florida Panthers. They don't match up well with either team. They have the Ottawa Senators in the first round. Looks like they're ahead for the division. Florida and Tampa look like they're on a collision course for another first-round matchup, which is going to be juicy. I say this. Ottawa's got goaltending now. Linus Ullmark, that young team, Brady Tkachuk, seeing what he does at Four Nations. The Leafs, it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be emotionally draining if they get out of the first round. And then you have to step it up a next level. It's tough. They're built differently this year. Craig Berube's got them playing and finishing games. I just don't see them winning a Stanley Cup this season. And it could be even longer wait.
Well, for the Leafs Nation, let me get into tonight's games. There are 10 games, including a must-win game for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who visit the Philadelphia Flyers. If the Blue Jackets lose, the Montreal Canadiens will clinch the final wildcard spot in the East. Elsewhere, the Leafs visit the Sabres. The Ottawa Senators host the Chicago Blackhawks. And the Vegas Golden Knights visit the Calgary Flames, who are 2 points back of the playoff cut line in the West. Now, if Minnesota loses to Anaheim, let's put it this way. The Flames have to win their last 2 games and hope Minnesota loses, and the Flames are in. As a matter of fact, I think Minnesota could still win. There's just so many wild scenarios. What I'm really into is what's going on here in Florida. I rode up in the elevator last night with one of the Panthers PR people, and I said, do you guys have any idea when the playoffs are going to start? And he goes, well, no. He goes, there's 3 scenarios. I'm like, you don't need to name them. I was just trying to plan my weekend. I understand it's very confusing. But Florida goes into Tampa tonight. The Panthers at the Lightning tonight. They're 2 points back. And if Florida wins, they'll get home ice. The playoffs have started, Jim. We realize that, right? We're talking about the NBA, the play-in. The playoffs have been going for a month. The intensity is just wild. Hasn't it felt that way?
Yeah, this is why Gary Bettman said at the Board of Governors meeting he's not changing anything. He's not going to add play-in round. The play-in round's the regular season. It has been for the last several weeks. Look at all these scenarios. Montreal still hasn't clinched yet. Calgary still has a chance at the playoffs. Columbus, you said it. Minnesota, St. Louis, right? All these teams that we thought about 2 months ago, hey, maybe it's Vancouver and Calgary. They're the only teams that are going to be in the West. Everything else seems pretty much set. The East, it's kind of between like 6 teams. But then after the trade deadline, all these games started to matter again like it has over the last couple of years. And this is why I'm in favor of not expanding the playoffs. Why do I need teams that are under 500 or, barely going to make it to the cut line? We need to have 7 versus 10, all this extra stuff that we don't need. We're getting it right now. And to me, the regular season is your playing round. You have 82 games to make the playoffs. If you don't do that, well, try again next year because, we're not handing out stuff for losers and participants, right? You're not getting in. This is it now. And the games matter. There's so much on the line in these games, especially everybody in Montreal is going to watch Columbus and Philadelphia tonight. People in Calgary, they want that game. Who's playing for Vegas, right? Minnesota, everybody's going to have eyes on Anaheim. This is what makes the NHL, the regular season, matter at this point in the season. And I think my guess is on the playoffs, I think Saturday or Sunday they're going to start. The league says April 19th. We'll see if we get a couple of games that day. I think a lot of it's going to start the 20th, 21st.
Okay, well, listen, if the Calgary Flames make the playoffs, you can't tell me God isn't involved. There would have to be divine intervention with that roster. Not that they're bad, but they can't score. Let's just wait and see how it all plays out. Now, regarding the Leafs, Wayne in Victoria, BC is watching. He says it's difficult to bet on the Leafs after 57 years of frustration for us Leaf fans. Well, this television channel is anchored out of Toronto. Our co-host Darren normally lives in Toronto. He's not with us today. That's why Jersey Jim is. Darren's golfing in Palm Desert. He's on a vacation. Moose is down there. But I'll say this about the Leafs, and you Leaf fans, there's millions, kabillions of them. Tell me if I'm wrong. You have a contender every year. I don't necessarily think the Leafs are cursed, but it was 9 years in a row in the playoffs, right, Clark? At least you know every year you're going to be in. We've laughed and said that they're the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL. Cowboys are my team. We're a joke. We missed the playoffs last year with that talent-laden roster and one of the top 3 highest-paid quarterbacks in the whole NFL. So that's the one thing. The Leafs are in contention every single year. You can pick apart their roster and pick apart the way guys have played in the playoffs. That's all fair game. Mitch Marner's earned that. They got another new starting goalie in the playoffs. I think. Who's their goalie going to be? But they're there. They're going to win first in the division, for the love of God. You're sitting there, Jim, in Jersey. Look at the Yankees. They were in the World Series last year, right? They didn't win it, but you have there's no salary cap, or there is, but you can go over. There's a luxury tax. You can't buy a Stanley Cup. Like the Dodgers bought a World Series. The Yankees keep trying, and the Mets keep trying. Is it not enough to be a contender every year is what I'm saying. I'm trying to land the plane here. I know you want to win, but at least you don't suck like the 80s. What do you see out of Leafville?
Yeah, I mean, you got a contender every year, right? I mean, it stinks that you're not winning in the first round all the time, right? You want to get deep in the playoffs. They haven't made a conference final since 2002 when they lost to Carolina Hurricanes. And funny enough, I believe they beat the Ottawa Senators that year in the first round, if memory serves me correct. And Clark can verify that, but I believe that is correct. And they made a deep run, and they had chances. But, again, it's been a while since then. And before that, it was 93 that they had a chance to go Game 7 against Gretzky and the Kings. And they had good teams in the 90s. They had good teams in the early 2000s, too. And they just ran into teams that played a style in the playoffs that won. And they just couldn't match it. And they had contending teams. And they still have a contending team. They have a team that can make a deep run. It's executing and making the plays at the right time and not hurting yourself at your own blue line. And that's what I see a lot with the Leafs, especially their skilled talent. They try to make plays in the playoffs, and when they have those turnovers, they end up in the back of the net because the goaltending is just not there. And whether it's a knock on Stolarz or Walt, who knows who's starting, like you said, but you can't have those massive turnovers, and you saw it against Florida. You can't do that stuff or else you're going home.
Well, that's where we go back to how the show started today with Don Granato. Thanks, Clark. We have the photo ready. We'll get to it in a second. But with Don Granato saying this morning on NHL radio, there are some teams that are bored and ready for the playoffs. And again, the Leafs are one. Those little mistakes, you hope they don't happen in the playoffs. And I don't think they will happen in the playoffs. Same thing for Florida. Great example here was Nico Mikkola 2 Sundays ago against Montreal. Remember on the buzzer? He took a clapper from his own right faceoff dot, head high, all the way down. I was watching and going, what are you doing? It was like a scene at a slap shot when Steve Hampson hit the organist in the melon. What are you doing? That's just somebody not focused. That's a team not focused. They're all bored and ready for the play. They've wanted the playoffs to start for a long time. Jim, I'm going to get you to stay another segment, and I'll probably bring you back off the top of hour 2, if you don't mind, because we've got a lot of questions for you and me that have come in from the audience. They're loving the hockey talk today, but Clark has found the photo that I wanted to bring this up. So this was last night, and I appreciate Randy Moeller helping me out with this, but I wanted to meet Sam Rosen, 40 years, the voice of the New York Rangers on television, and this was his last road game last night, and then they got one more home game, and then he's done after 40 years. And I'll be honest, it speaks a little to my age. 1984 doesn't seem like that long ago. It was 40 years ago, Jim. So Sam Rosen's earned the right to hang up the microphone, but the thing is, he's still got the zip. He's still got the pep. And I want to thank the Florida Panthers PR staff for taking that photo for me. Oh, they treat me so great. Sam is the man. And it's the first time I ever had a chance to meet him. But you said you've met him. That doesn't surprise me. You cover the Devils. You're in the press boxes all the time. But he's got What I say about Lanny McDonald, the light. Sam has the light. There's like an aura around him. He's the man. So it was pretty exciting last night, Jimmy. You've met him before, you said, Sam Rosen.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I mean, he's got so much energy, right? Like, I grew up watching him and JD on MSG. Like, the chemistry they had on NHL and TNT, it's just like, where these guys been for the last couple of years? And JD's never left the game, right? He's been an executive. He's with an executive now at Columbus and was with the Rangers as well. But those guys just have so much energy. They bring it to the game. And that's the old school guys bring so much energy to the game. Not saying the new school guys don't, right? The newer guys on TV. But these guys have been around the game for so long. They've seen so much, and they can get you hyped up even if the game isn't the greatest of games. They know how to tell that story and get you hooked. And Sam Rosen's one of those guys. He's going to be missed. I mean, icon in New York, right? I mean, he's got the call in '94. As much as it pains me, right? Like, I remember it. I know it. I heard it. It's going to last a lifetime, and maybe it will. You never know with the Rangers. But '94 was tough. The Devils were coming up and everything. But Sam Rosen, one of the good guys in the business, and just happy for him having a good send-off here for his final season with the New York Rangers.
I'm just laughing because of all that went down last night. I don't think you've met Randy Moeller, but maybe you have. But did you when you were here? Color voice of the
I've seen him. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
One of the funniest guys I've ever met. Period. And I've met a lot of guys. But I said, when Sam Rosen gets off that elevator, everybody stop. I need to meet Sam. I know I want a photo with him because, as you've seen, Jim, everybody's getting photos with Sam Rosen on this last tour, right? Like, everybody's doing it. So we're in the middle of this, and I was wearing this red tie, as you see. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes and he says, "Wow, Rod, you look spiffy in a sharp suit. Well done." Well, I was dressed up to meet Sam because I knew there would be a photo. So I said to Moeller, I'm wearing the Randy Moeller starter kit here with the red tie. And he goes, "Did I never tell you that story? The owner's wife, Vincent Viola's wife, wants us wearing red ties. So we all had to go out and get red ties." And then right in the middle of the story, bing, elevator opens, Sam Rosen walks off, and Moeller spins. It's like he could sense him. He's like, "Sam!" He yells down the press box, "We got a guy here, wants a pick." And then the Panthers PR staff took the pick. Just, you love when things can get together or come together, right? And I'm so happy to give people 2 hours of not talking about political BS and fighting about the leaders of the countries and just talk about good things coming together in sports, because that's the way it should be. Jim's going to be with us. We're going to continue the hockey talk, get to some viewer questions, and he wants to discuss a football thing, and we will not let him go until we do. We're live on the Game Plus television network, streaming live and podcasting wherever you enjoy your
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio, Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hour one is brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. They're Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, concerts, they've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check them out at seatgiant.ca. Jimmy Behringer, Jersey Jim, is in place of the Moose, who's golfing in Palm Desert today. And there's people that want to talk at us, Jim, on the Progressive Insurance text line, 902-518-3033. Switch to Progressive and you could save a bunch. Brother Sasko writes in, and he says, hi, Jersey Jim and Florida Rodfather. Probably more a question for Rod, but if the Jets lost in round one, is Hellebuck considered a bigger playoff choker than Zach Caleros in the playoffs in recent years? Go Jets. Listen. Cheap shot from the guy formerly known as Fake Gainer. Let's just, if you say go Jets and you really mean it, then cheer for the damn Jets. We'll sort it all out afterwards. They're going to play, we don't know who, Calgary, Minnesota, or St. Louis, right? Whoever the eighth is, Jim. Let's wait to see how it sorts out. We had Jamie Thomas on last week from the Winnipeg Jets TV, and he said nobody took the loss to Colorado in round one last year harder than Connor Hellebuck. That's what that might be the biggest story of the playoffs, dude. Redemption for the Jets and Connor Hellebuck. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Jets to me have that, and you know, you mentioned basketball earlier, and I told you off air I'm a big Spurs fan, and when they lost to the Miami Heat that one year in the final when Tim Duncan was on the bench in Game 6, and then they lost in 7, you know, you look at yourself and you say, the next year, the Spurs came out on this redemption tour, and they just smoked through everybody, including the Heat again in the NBA Final. I have a feeling that's the mentality that this Winnipeg Jets team has, especially Connor Hellebuck. He wants to prove to everybody, hey, I'm going to win another Vezina. I'm going to show you that I'm the best goalie in the world, and I'm going to show you I can carry this team deep in a playoff run because that's who I am. And, yeah, he said he was playing some of his best hockey last year. The team in front of him, to me, honestly broke down. They tried to play this run-and-gun style with the Avalanche in front of them, and it didn't work. They played this great defensive style for 8 straight games heading into the playoffs, won 8 straight. And then they completely flipped the switch for some reason. They just got to keep playing the way they're playing, and they'll be fine. Hellebuck makes the saves when he needs to. He can stand on his head when he needs to. They have that nice right mix. Again, if they lose in the first round, it's going to be very, very disappointing. But I just don't see it. I think this Jets team is primed for a deep run.
There's a column idea for you and me. I can just see it now in the next South Florida Tribune. Top 10 Stanley Cup playoff storylines. That would be one. I'm not sure it's number one. And the Leafs drought would be a story. I'm not sure it's the biggest story. We'll examine this, Jim, you and I, before you get off the air today with me. Gary in Winnipeg writes in on the Progressive Insurance text line. He says, I watched last night's Rangers-Panthers game. Florida was in control in the first half of the game, leading 3-1. Then the Rangers scored 2 in a minute, 38 seconds later in the second. And Rod, I'm so happy that you were able to meet Sam and get a picture with him. Sam Rosen and John Davidson will always be the best hockey tag team ever. Signed, Gary from Winnipeg. That's saying a lot. It's funny because Serena, I just got her introduced to Joe Bowen, the Leafs radio guy. He's been calling the games for a long time. She just listened to him for the first time. She's like, I love this guy. He's so old school. Similar to what you were saying earlier about Sam Rosen. But the Islanders and Rangers are going to miss the playoffs, Jimmy. I should ask you, how's that playing in the, what's the area code, 212? How's that playing in the Big Apple?
212. 212 is the Big Apple, yeah. I'm in 201 area code, but the 212 over in New York, yeah, look, the Rangers a complete disaster, dysfunctional season from the start. Chris Drury trying to change things up midway in the season, early in the season, just trying to change this nucleus up. Didn't fly with the players. Felt like there was a mutiny going on with the players. Not so much at the coach, but more at the GM because guys in the room got moved. The way business was done, they didn't like it. They're going to miss the playoffs. Disappointing for them. And I think, to me, the Islanders, not so much. I don't know if it's a disappointment because I don't know how many people actually had the Islanders making the playoffs this year. Some injuries. Matt Barzal got hurt. You move out Brock Nelson. But not surprised the Islanders are missing in my book just because I just didn't see who they were better than in the Metro Division right now. But it is a surprise that the Rangers aren't there, but they did it to themselves.
So I'm going to save some of these to the next segment. Mini overtime when I give you a break. Ted in Red Deer writes in, he says, hey, Jersey Jim, who's on your Mount Rushmore of New Jersey Devils? For me, Marty Brodeur, Rob Niedermeyer, Scott Stevens, Lou Lamoriello. Do you need a minute to think about it, Jim?
I mean, that's a good list. I think, does he mean Scott Niedermeyer? Because his brother played with them later.
I'm just reading what he wrote. Yes.
Yeah,
Scott Niedermeyer.
Yeah, so
you get the point.
Yeah, so so it'd be Marty Brodeur, Scott Niedermeyer, Scott Stevens. And how can you not put the guy, Lou Lamoriello, up there? I mean, I have no problem with that list. To me, you could put Patrick Elias as players. Like players, I would put Patrick Elias in there. That, to me,
okay,
like, if you want to put
Elias.
total, Luke, you can put Lou up there, but it's just players only. Yes, Elias is my fourth.
Bill Edwards writes in. He's the one that gave me the Ron and Don bobblehead. He says, good morning, crew. It's a great day in Leaf land. I remember the 1967 Cup and have never lost the faith. This is the best chance the Leafs have had in many years. Bill, we talked a lot of Leafs earlier. You're late. We were saying at least you got a contender every year, 9 straight years in the playoffs. You had good teams for a long time, and I don't think any of us, well, I shouldn't speak for Jim, but if the Leafs win the Stanley Cup, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'm not anti-Leaf. I'm saying just be happy that you've got a perennial contender there. That's not easy to do. Anyways, Jimmy, this is where Moose goes and has a dart. I'll invite you to do the same. We'll bring you back in hour 2 because I know you want to talk about Shedeur Sanders and a little bit of the NFL draft, plus more NHL. Is that cool?
That's cool.
All right. Mini overtime is next. That includes a sports update and viewer takeover. We'll be right back live here on the Game Plus television network, streaming live and podcasting wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. the Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We're broadcasting from that place. We're in there somewhere. Studio 23, where it's a great day for hockey. Florida Panthers on the road visiting the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. Second place in the division is on the line. I can't wait for that one either. You can't wait for the game in Calgary. We're going to get to all of that in a second. From the text line, I guess while we have a second, would it be hard to throw that photo up again, Clark, with Sam Rosen? Everybody's enjoying that. And how about that? Yeah, there you go. That's me and Sam Rosen. That was the last ever road broadcast of his 40-year career as voice of the New York Rangers. Darcy in Grand Prairie writes, and he says, "You look like a young Donald Trump with that suit on and tie." I'll just take that what it is. I'm not going to say thank you or not whatever. Sure, I just wanted to dress up because I knew I was going to meet Sam Rosen last night. And one of the Panthers staff took that, and she goes, post it everywhere. I'm like, I did. And I'm glad. Well, I knew that I wouldn't read this wrong. Thanks, Clark. But Jersey Jim saying that Sam Rosen has a great energy. Energy is a thing. I'd like to think that I have a great energy. Sam Rosen has great energy. It's the first time I ever met him, I'll be honest with you. And I'm sitting there going, why are you retiring? Maybe because he wants to, Rod. He's certainly earned that, hasn't he? Brian in Hudson's Bay writes in, and Brian, you missed my apology to you right off the top of the show. I did not think that Ivan Demidov would tie an NHL record for the most points in one period in a rookie debut, but he did. So I'm apologizing. You were right. Pretty amazing what the kid did. That was right off the top of the show, Brian, if you want to rewind. here on Game Plus. Anyways, he writes in on the Progressive Insurance text line. Brian in Hudson's Bay says, "Good day, guys. Sportsnet is advertising up here that Saturday is the start of the playoffs. That is what I'm going by. Rod, do either one of you guys know if Calgary makes it if they win their last 2 games and end up tied with the Blues or Wild?" Well, I don't. Clark, you can take a swing at that if you want, but what I'm thinking is the Flames themselves are just thinking they'll go out and win and let the chips fall. Look at the win totals. I haven't looked at it that closely. I was very closely looking at Florida and Tampa Bay. What happens tonight? If the Panthers win tonight in Tampa, they'll get second and home ice. You can look for yourself. Who will have the most wins in the eventuality of a tie? It is pretty complicated, I will admit that, and it's a lot to keep your mind on. Well, here it is. Heavy Gym Sports headlines. Calgary will be fighting to keep their NHL playoff hopes alive when they welcome the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Flames enter 3 points behind Minnesota for the Western Conference's first wildcard spot and 2 back of the St. Louis Blues for the second seed with 2 games to go. The Wild and Blues both play their final games tonight. So if Minnesota wins, it doesn't matter. They'll clinch with a win. 2 points back of the Blues. I think the Blues will clinch with a win, too. And what do they got? They got Utah in there tonight. This is playoff hockey already. The Leafs sit a point from clinching their first Atlantic Division title heading into tonight's matchup with the Sabres in Buffalo. Toronto can also clinch with a Tampa Bay Lightning loss. Lightning host the Panthers. And what could and probably will be a first-round playoff preview. Oh, they're excited here in the Sunshine State. It'll be the 4th meeting in 5 years. This is what builds the rivalry. It ain't ever going to match Battle of Alberta. I don't think that it ever will. Or Red Sox, Yankees, or Habs, Leafs. But it's going to be pretty damn good.
Bingo!
Also tonight, the playoff-bound Ottawa Senators host Chicago. That title in town. Very surprised Bedard did not shoot in the shootout last night for the Hawks. But they won, so what the hell do I know? It reminds me of when Jordan Eberle was a rookie, a 16-year-old rookie. We were in a shootout in Chilliwack with the Pats. I was calling the game. Eberle goes in, makes a patented Eberle move at 16, scores, and we win the game. And I got 20-year-olds bitching to me afterwards. Why was he shooting in the shootout? I don't know, guys. Maybe because he scored. The NBA's play-in tournament starts tonight. 7th seed Orlando hosts number 8 Atlanta in the Eastern Conference, while number 7 Golden State welcomes 8th-ranked Memphis in the West. The winners of those games make the playoffs. The losers play the victors of tomorrow's 9 versus 10 games. Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. And also Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas, May 2nd, Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts. The film returns to the screen. Marvel Cinematic Universe characters Bucky Barnes, Red Guardian, John Walker, Taskmaster, Ghost, and Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. In addition to some exciting new faces, starring Hannah John Kamen, Sebastian Stan, Olga Kurylenko, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Marvel Studios Thunderbolts in Landmark Cinemas May 2nd. Back with Hour 2 right after this.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
No! You all didn't know the old me, that for 40 years, Darren, I was a kamikaze. The fact that I'm alive is a miracle.
How about that?
I've ridden steers, jumped off cliffs, been shot and been shot at, and I survived it all.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
That is a true story. Oh, I'm so glad you all didn't know me then. And that includes Jersey Jim. You've met the best me, Jim. Welcome to Hour 2, everybody. Jersey Jim's here. Moose is golfing in Palm Desert, California. And we've been talking on the phone every day that he's been away. And he's like, wow, it's so awesome here. This is like what you have every day. I'm like, yes, it is. Florida's amazing. And it's game day here. What's it like in Jersey outside right now, Jim? The Garden State.
Yeah, a little cloudy, a little sunny. I mean, we're finally getting spring, I think, hopefully. A lot of weather changes these last couple of days, weeks. It's been hot, it's been cold, it's been rainy. There was some snow over the weekend. April snow. Yeah, higher elevations, not by me, thank God. I'm done with that stuff. I've seen enough snow this year. I'm done with that. I want the 80 degrees, and I want to be outside. That's what I want, and hopefully we're getting that. We're turning a corner here.
I'd like to tell you that I miss it, but my mom told me not to lie. Hour 1 was like all hockey, and we're going to do a lot of hockey this hour, but I'm going to tell you that Arash Madani joins us coming up in the next segment. Formerly Canada's Reporter of the Year. He'll probably win it this year, too. And with him, just so you know, we can talk some Leafs, we can talk some Blue Jays, because the Blue Jays are still in first place despite getting thumped last night 8-4 by the Braves. And we probably won't talk any NBA at all because that's the poll question today. Are you into the NBA playoffs? Because the play-in begins tonight. Over 88% of you saying no, you're not. That includes Jim. Jersey Jim's not into the NBA playoffs. I actually am, but I'm not going to bore you all by talking about it because I know you came here today to talk hockey. But Jim, I did ask him before the show, what would you like to talk about besides hockey, Jim? And you said the NFL draft, which doesn't surprise me because you're American and you're a big football fan. So your New York Giants are picking 3rd overall. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, interesting pick, right? Because they're working out Shedeur Sanders again later in the week on Thursday. I believe they're doing another private practice with him. And look, there's a lot of options they can go. Me personally, if I'm the general manager of this team, I'm picking the best player available, and it would be Abdul Carter at 3 if he's available. Again, you want to set the tone on defense, right? Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, you have that. And if Sanders is available later in the draft, which potentially he could be, you can trade back in and get the quarterback. That way the pressure isn't on him right away like it would be if you drafted him in the top 5. Again, he's got to be available. Will he be? I don't think so. But, that's what you could do. Again, to me, I'm going defense. I'm going Carter or Travis Hunter. Those are the guys that make the most sense to me because I just don't know, and I'm not sure that Shedeur can translate his game from what I saw in college to the NFL level. Some guys can, some guys can't. And you played for your dad for a long time. He plays one way. It's tough to translate it to a new coach.
Yeah. Oh, dude, this is so fascinating. I almost feel like I should bring you back here for a Football Friday and get into it. See, Jim, I'd like to think is a little like me, versatile, and that we can talk a variety of sports at a reasonably intelligent level. And from the audience, by the way, Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and says, to quote Rod, Moose not here. No, Moose not here. He's golfing in Palm Desert. But here's the thing. See, I could get down with a football talk just as well as anybody. Like Jeff Reinbold was on here with us yesterday. He is currently the defensive line coach with the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors Mountain West Conference. They didn't play against Colorado. They played against Colorado State, but he's seen enough film of Shedeur Sanders, might have even seen him live. And he goes, he's not the perfect player. That wasn't Jeff's scouting report. That is the scouting report on Shedeur Sanders. He's not the perfect player. And it kind of pisses me off because I'm like, how many guys are? I'm going to tell you something right now. Look in the Hall of Fame, how many guys aren't the perfect player? And by the way, what is the perfect player? Okay, because what they're saying about Shedeur Sanders is he's got the football IQ, and I can't remember, he's got the brain. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but I will take that. But they're saying he doesn't necessarily have the arm. And I was listening to Chris Sims this morning on Pro Football Talk with Florio, and Sims is like, well, they don't just have a hole at quarterback in New York. They got holes all over the field. So, and that's kind of what you were saying, right? If they don't take Shedeur, there's a lot of other guys they could take to plug a hole, Jim. So what do you think they're going to do?
I think they'll go D. I mean, again, if they really love Shedeur Sanders, the way this management is been working, they may go quarterback. Personally, they should go defense. Take your D, set up your defense, set up your edge rushers. You saw what was going on in Washington, how they set up their edge rushers. Yeah, you have Jaden Daniels there. That's all well and good. But everything starts on the D end. And I always look at this. New York Giant football has been this for years. Good defensive play, good running back, decent quarterback. You win at the line of scrimmage. That's how they've won Super Bowls. Just go back at all of them and look at it. Yes, they had the miracle catches with Eli Manning, but go even before that with Jeff Hostetler and Phil Simms. Yes, Giants fans, Phil Simms did not win back-to-back two Super Bowls for the Giants as a starting quarterback. He got hurt the one year, and it was Jeff Hostetler who did it against the Buffalo Bills. But again, it's always the defense, and that's what the Giants are known for. That's a playmaker, that's a difference maker, a generational talent on D with Abdul Carter. That's where you need to go.
I just want to say to my guy, Chris from the Bronx, he's another Giants fan. I know so many Giants fans, especially since I moved to Florida. Chris from the Bronx, who do you think the G-men should take at the number 3 overall pick? What we know is you're going to get a really good player. I would hope at number 3, right? But nobody knows who the heck it's going to be. By the way, I opened the show with, and I closed hour 1 with an apology for Brian in Hudson's Bay because he said that Ivan Demidov with the Habs was going to be all that. And last hour when we talked about NHL leftovers from last night, the kid only had a goal and an assist in his NHL debut, tied an NHL record with 2 points in one period. There's like 5 other guys that did it. Celebrini's done it. Huberdeau did it. I could look it up. I'm not sure if you read the NHL game notes this morning or not, but I said, what's he going to do? It's his debut. And he shoved it down my throat. Ivan Demidov. He looks amazing, dazzling. So Brian in Hudson Bay writes in and he says, Rod, the apology wasn't necessary, but it's appreciated. Have a great day. I'm going to say one thing, and the viewers are getting to know me. Jim knows me better than most. I will always apologize when I'm in the wrong, always. And I learned this from a guy by the name of Ken Miller, Grandpa Miller, Hall of Fame head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Jimmy. In 2011, he was taking a bunch of bullets for things that weren't even necessarily his fault. It was like, he's like, blame me. I'll take the blame. In the scrum in front of all the reporters. And when it was done, I pulled him aside. I'm like, Kenny, you got to stop taking all the bullets. Because around here, they're more than willing to let you take the bullets. And he goes, I'll always take the bullet. Ken was our leader. That's how you end up in the Hall of Fame, baby. When it's your fault, you're wrong, take the blame. Don't stand there and point fingers. Regarding the NBA, the poll question, are you into it or not? Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes in, he says, believe it or not, I'm in the 88%. Believe it or not, I'm not in the 88% that is not in the NBA playoffs. Might watch a bit later if Oklahoma City and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get to the finals. I get it. I will be following it as well. Similar to I was following Masters Sunday, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about it on this show every day because the viewers know we come here to talk primarily hockey and football and a little baseball. But I'm not going to throw a curveball at you all and start talking about basketball. Now, to these games tonight, Jim, before I let you go, and we got 7 minutes left here. That's a long 6 minutes, which is a long time in television. For the benefit of those that weren't watching in hour one, the Rangers and the Islanders will miss the playoffs. That's not going over well in the Big Apple. How far do you think the shakedown goes? I just watched New York here last night. We were leaving to go home, Serena and I, and we agreed the Rangers aren't this bad. There's a lot of talent on that team. So who pays the price for it, Jim, do you think?
Well, obviously, I think everybody's waiting for Peter Laviolette at the end of the year to get his walking papers. Is it fair? No. The team quit not on him, but on the GM. They didn't like how things were run. They didn't like how Barclay Goodrow was treated. They didn't like how Jacob Trouba was treated. Look, the GM was trying to shake things up. The problem is he couldn't get it done in the summer. You don't do it in November, and you try to change things up. And you were winning, and you were in the top 3 in the Metro Division, and it all came crashing down after that. Yeah, you tried to fight back, climb back. You were in a race that you really weren't in. And now they've moved out so many guys, Capo Cackle along with Trouba. They brought in, JT Miller. You've moved some of your young prospects in there. The young kids aren't playing. It's dysfunction from the top. To me, personally, if the coach goes, the GM has to go too, because how many coaches is this guy going to be allowed to hire over a short period of time, and you're going to turn over every 2 years after you win a President's Trophy? Maybe try to find sustained success. Have a GM that's looking towards the future. Don't take your eye off of drafting and developing. They had a guy, Jeff Gordon, he's up in Montreal now, doing things with Kent Hughes. So, again, I think that's where the problems really started, trying to hotshot things, and now they're paying the price, and I just don't see them as a playoff team next year either. There is talent, but they have to be willing and able to believe in each other and have a true leader on that team.
I'll give the viewers a little insight into my life. And from the audience, Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, sounds like Drury has been a clown show with the New York Rangers. And Jim just said, how many coaches is this guy going to be allowed to fire? At some point, the bullet, speaking of taking the bullet, it's got to hit the GM. Bomber Boy writes in, he says, this is the first year in history that the American Original Six didn't make the playoffs. I know. And the networks are very concerned about that. I guess we'll find out what the ratings say once the playoffs start. But Doug McClain said this, and I don't know where you stand, Jim, on Doug McClain. I really like the guy. I really like him a lot. Former Florida Panthers coach, Columbus Blue Jackets coach and general manager and president. He came on our Cats and Bolts podcast, and he just bared it all. That's what's great about these guys that are in their 60s. They don't give a shit anymore. They just say they don't care. He's not looking for a job, you know? And he goes, over 90% of the cases when a coach gets fired, it's the owner making the GM do it. It's the owner. And in the case of MSG, I think you could swap in James Dolan as the owner, the president of MSG. But he goes, but as a GM, you always know that you got a few coaches that you can go through before it gets to you. And I'm going for lunch on Friday with Jeff Rimmer, the original voice of the Florida Panthers, and Doug McClain might come along. We're going to the Sicilian Oven in Delray on West Atlantic Friday. Good Friday. It's going to be great. But people don't understand. Do you know, Jim, that it is the owners that run the show? Right down to the broadcasters wearing what color the tie is. Because I found that out last night. I don't think people understand. Maybe we'll wind this up with you. They're the owners. They have the right to do this. I don't think the fans know this.
Yeah. I mean, look, James Dolan is erratic, right? He's done a lot of things, right? A couple years ago with Jeff Gordon, JD brought him in. They didn't like the direction. Now, I've been told that he had some help in his ear. Former player, former GM that was of the Rangers was in his ear. But he's very erratic, and he wants a winner. And he wants to win now. And the bubble playoff didn't help things for the New York Rangers when they got in and they missed the playoffs. Oh, how come we're not taking the next step? They were trying to build success. Then they fired Gallant. Now you hire Laviolette. Where do you go now? This owner wants to win and wants to win badly. They haven't won since 1994. So, yeah, I would not be surprised if they just blow this whole thing up again and bring somebody else in because they just want to win. It's just crazy. But the owners run the show in the National Hockey League, and everybody else on the staff's got to follow along.
We could, might get into this a little bit with Arash as he joins us next, but the good owners, because I bang on the owners a lot, but there are good owners. And by the way, the Knicks are third in the Eastern Conference seeding, and in the NBA, the Knicks. So at least they're into the playoffs. They have a shot. But I've sat down with all these Panthers people, and I just said, hey, what's gone on here? Where did you go from the empty rink to sold out every night and 2 straight Stanley Cup final? They said the owner, Vince Baiola, sat down and said, what do you guys need? Here's a check. Go buy players. Go market this. Go do that. Right? They got a good one here. And same as Tampa Bay with Jeff Vinik, same thing. Give the people, your staff, what they need to be successful and get the hell out of the way. And I don't think James Dolan does that in New York. Jim, this has just been a blast, man. Thanks for sitting in. Tell our viewers where they can catch your stuff, please.
Yeah, guys, this has been a blast. Thanks, Rod, for having me on. Check me out at Jersey Jim 33, Instagram, Nightcap Recap as well. Jim Berenger on Twitter, and Full Press Hockey, the podcast. Get it up on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts as well. It's been a pleasure. It's always been fun, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Jimmy. Jersey Jim, he's doing great things up there in the Garden State and all over New York. John says owners think they are coaches. They need to sit back and let the experts run the show. You're preaching to the choir, bro. And I get this a lot of times from the owner's friends. Well, he's the owner, so he's allowed to. Just because I could run my car into the ditch doesn't mean that I do. Whatever. Arash is next, and it's going to be great. We're live on the Game Plus television network, streaming live daily, and, of course, podcasting wherever you enjoy your podcast.
Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit shaniatwain.com.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hour 2 brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information at emjmarketing.com. There are so many things to get to with Arash Madani, but I think as we bring the big man in, I want to start Arash with the National Hockey League. Statistically, the greatest race ever, if we are to believe the math. I'm bad at math, but 10 games tonight. Some could clinch. Some could go to tomorrow. It's been wild, man. Are you enjoying this race as much as a lot of the fans?
You know what I'm more intrigued about, Rod, than the race itself is just how it can all change so quickly year after year. Like everybody, like win when you can, because you never know. The Rangers go from being, President's Trophy winners to missing the playoffs. The Oilers are limping into the postseason. I have to think LA is going to be the favorite and likely going to win that series. The Oilers are that close to winning the Stanley Cup last year, and they could be a one and done. So, I think so often in sports we're like, okay, well, you got this far. Now next year you pick up where you left off. It's not the case. You have to start all over again. Your record is 0-0. You got to go through rookie camp and training camp and a preseason and 82 games, and so much can happen. So I'm just fascinated by the teams that were so good, what's happened to them, And then, yeah, part of it is the race. Like, how fun would it be for Montreal to get in? But will they get in after your Chicago guys did what they did to them yesterday?
It's driving the Habs fans nuts. You and I both have a lot of Habs fan friends, and they deserve better to be in by now after the work they've done to climb this. But you're sitting there in Ontario, the Battle of Ontario. There aren't too many that thought this was coming down the pipe, man. What do you think's in store, assuming it happens where you live?
I think it's going to be a bigger story, the quote-unquote Battle of Ontario in Ottawa than Toronto. And I spent a few years in Ottawa, and I've been here for a long time in Toronto. I think for Leaf fans, it's not as much the opponent, now that it's likely not going to be Florida and probably not Boston. But for the Leafs fans at this point, I don't even think, Rod, it matters who they play. It's show us, prove to us that you can do it. At this point, bring on a KHL team, bring on a Western Conference team. It wouldn't matter. It's just do it. Can they do it? You look at it and you say to yourself, well, does Ottawa have enough firepower to keep up? At the same time, you wonder, all right, do the Maple Leafs have enough goaltending to handle what the Senators may give? So I think, Ottawa hadn't been in 8 years or something like that. I think for the Senators fans, for the city of Ottawa, they're pumped to be back in. The fact that it's the Leafs is kind of the icing on the cake in terms of giving it a little more juice. But I think in this market, after all these years of playoff failure, it's just gotta be the time. Because if not now, Roddy, if not now, especially with the Marner and Tavares contract situations, when?
Well, it's actually, you know what? Because Game Plus is headquartered in Toronto, I don't mind spending some time on the Leafs. Last hour, Jersey Jim Behringer was with us from NHL Full Press. We were talking about what are the biggest stories going into these Stanley Cup playoffs, because there are a lot. And the Leafs might be number one. Everybody's tired of hearing it, but they might be. Take us inside that team. What are the questions other than maybe recap it, because you just said the goaltending might not be there. Marner has not been a playoff performer. Tavares has had a great year, but his contract's up. Berube's first year. What are we missing?
Yeah.
It's fascinating to break it down.
It really is. And look, goaltending has been an issue with this team forever. The lack of playoff performances have been an issue for generations, plural now. But I really think that what makes this whole thing fascinating is the contract situations of the previous captain and Robin to Batman, or Batman to Robin, depending on the night, with Marner and Matthews. Look, William Nylander got the bag, and he has lived up to that contract and delivered. There is no question about it. But all of this is fine, Rod, but you got to do it in April and May. They've never done it in April and May. And how much does the Marner and Tavares thing now weigh even larger going into the summer based on what happens over the next 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks or beyond? And at some point, you have to actually perform in the playoffs. And I don't mean individuals. I really don't. I think there's a lot on Marner, sure. But as a team, they've done nothing. So they've tried everything. It's got to work, doesn't it? And if it doesn't, then what?
Well, Wayne is all the way out there in Victoria, BC. Viewer Wayne. But he says he's a Leaf fan. He goes, if the Leafs don't go deep into the playoffs this year, then I will believe there is a curse. Are you willing to consider that possibility?
I'm not. Wayne, and I feel your frustration. I'm a Vikings fan, so Wayne, I get it. I spent my own dollars to fly to Detroit for week 17, week 18, whatever that was, and saw the dud. I don't think it's a curse. I think they're like the Leafs are like the Cowboys. Right. In Dallas, the overvaluing of the incumbents that you have in-house is just so prevalent. There is there can sometimes be a delusion. Like what I always talking, especially now that we're around NFL draft time, Rod, there's a bias towards SEC players. There's a bias towards dudes who have name power and go to, power conference schools. I always say, what if you took the logos off the helmets, the logos off the jerseys, the nameplates off the jerseys, and gave somebody a black and white feed of the actual tape that you're watching, and then do the evaluation? Don't do it based on, oh, okay, well, that's Marner, he's good. That's Matthews, he's good. Oh, man, that's Dak Prescott. They gave him a lot of money. He's the franchise quarterback. Do the evaluation based on what your eyes are telling you on the ice, on the field, on the court, whatever. Not about, well, I just think there's an inherent bias that exists because of the name power of both organization and player.
The viewers are chiming in with some questions for you, not just Wayne. John says, Arash, thoughts on the Blue Jays start and the signing of Vladdy, etc.? I don't think I've got your take on that.
I mean, look, the Blue Jays knocked on the door for Shohei Ohtani and were the runner-ups. They were the bridesmaids there. The same with Juan Soto. And they knew what it was going to take. There's a lot of layers to this thing. And Roddy, you'll appreciate this from our CFL days. Remember when CFL free agency would roll around and American players, especially quarterbacks, like if they signed for 400 Gs, they'd get 300 of it in a signing bonus? And why they did that? It's because the taxes for out-of-country athletes, you're taxed at like 10 or 15% or something like that, not the highest tax bracket from a salary standpoint. The majority of Vlad's contract is a signing bonus. So his take-home money is actually going to be a lot more significant that way. There's also fear of a labor stoppage in baseball in 2026. When most of that money comes in the form of a signing bonus, they can't take that away from you. So I think from an economic standpoint, the way it was structured made sense. They had to do this, Rod. And sorry, who was the viewer? I missed his name.
John in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I just think, Sean, like, they had to do it. You go to that ballpark, and 3/4 of the people are wearing 27 jerseys. Vladimir Guerrero, the name itself in this country, because of what his father was with the Expos, etc., means so much. And at a time where you've just dumped $300 million in renovations, $400 million in renovations, and you've increased ticket prices and concession prices and the rest, you need your fan base to rally around somebody. So you think about the economics, you think about who he represents, what he means as a player. And then the majority owner of the team, Edward Rogers, sat up there yesterday, and we rarely see Edward Rogers publicly. And he brought up the W word, Rod. He wasn't shy about saying, we want to win the World Series. That's the mission here. And so when you see an owner spend this kind of cake on a player, you have to ask yourself, all right, is he going to continue on this trajectory with these contracts? And we're about to find out.
Different world than 92 and 93, but Vladdy's salary is more than the entire team from back then. But it was 30 years ago, I know. But I'm so glad to have you on, because I was in Dunedin a few weeks ago, and you would know this because you've been on the sidelines. Vladdy is the Toronto Blue Jays. And I know you'll tell me if I'm wrong, and I won't be offended. But everybody, the players are all looking at him. I feel like John Schneider is waiting for a approving nod from Vladdy. He's the team. He's the franchise. They had to give him the bag. You got to pay your guys. That's sports now, right? I'm not sure how many people realize that, Arash.
And look, a few things. At the press conference yesterday in the back of the room, George Springer was there. Anthony Santander was there. A bunch of the players were there. Mark Budzinski. He's not the face of the franchise. He's the heartbeat of the franchise. And honestly, I think he's kind of, and this is with all due respect to Tyler O'Neill and Cal Quantrill and Nick Pivetta. But today, he's Montreal born, he is the face of baseball in this country. You know, you go anywhere in Canada and bring up the Blue Jays, Vlad's the guy. You know, Jose Barrios may have been the opening day starter, and George Springer may have a World Series on his resume and had gotten a big contract, and on and on and on. But Vlad is the identity of the ball club, and he's the identity of the sport in this country.
And you can't blame the fans for saying, what about Bo? Because his contract's expiring. How, again, you know these guys. Well, if he's not extended before going to free agency, will he be upset? Should he be upset? What is it? How much of a priority is he, Bo Bichette?
Well, I think the season honestly has to play itself out, Rod, at this point, because Bo played half the games last year. Bo dealt with injuries last year. When Bo's been healthy and elite, he's been as good as it gets. And the issue has been Bo hasn't been healthy enough the last few years. And he'll probably be the first to tell you that. So in a lot of ways, this is a telling season for him, especially as a pending free agent. If he has an ordinary year, even a good year, it wouldn't surprise me if Bichette were to sign a one-year deal somewhere, maybe Toronto, maybe elsewhere, almost like Marcus Semien did back in 2021, like a prove-it deal. Okay, we know what you're kind of capable of, but show us. And Semien played all 162 games in 2021, in the middle of the infield, right beside Bo, and Bo credits him with a lot of the habits and things that he learned. Semien had a monster season when he left Oakland to come to Toronto and got over $200 million from the Texas Rangers. I think Bo's in a situation where, unless it's a huge season for him, that he may be in a similar situation where, all right, show it one more time. Show what you can do, and then you hit free agency, and then you see what's out there for you.
Wise plan. I'll end it with this. The countdown clock has started at Lambeau Field for round 1 of the NFL draft. You're smiling already. There's a lot of intrigue. What's going to go on that opening night, man?
Well, Cam Ward will go 1. And then all bets are off. If you said to me, Rod,
yes,
that 4 quarterbacks go in the first round, I'm like, I can actually kind of see it. It could happen. If you said to me 2 quarterbacks go in the first round, I'm like, I can actually see it. That could happen. The fact that Shedeur is now having another private workout with the Giants makes you wonder, what are they talking about in that building? I don't see it as a smokescreen. I wonder who's driving that. You have a head coach and a GM on the hot seat. Is it ownership saying, we want to come in on this too? I just think the Travis Hunter dynamic in this draft is going to be so fascinating to follow. And there's a lot of talk about Abdul Carter, as there should be. But Jalen Walker out of Georgia, to me, is just so dynamic and so explosive. If he slides even a little bit, I think that's going to be intriguing. And whatever happens, and I could see him landing at 9 to the Raiders, but if Genty, the running back from Boise State, goes in the top 10, he owes Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley a dinner, because those two have taken the running back position from the priest is giving last rites to everybody in your profession to now being, boom, right at the top. And Genty's got the build, the explosiveness, the speed, the durability to be both of those guys. And if not for Saquon and King Henry kind of changing the narrative of the position for an entire industry. Who knows where Genty would be taken later this month.
Well, the hype is off the charts, as it always is, and I'm enjoying every second of it. Arash, thanks for the time, my man. Let's do it again soon.
Great to see you, bud. Thanks, Roddy.
Reporter of the Year, Arash Madani. As Jim Lang said this morning, there are reporters, then there are great reporters, and then there's Arash Madani. Pleased to have him spend some time with us. Sports update on the way and viewer takeover the rest of the way. We're live here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever you enjoy your podcast.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Broadcasting from Studio 23, right inside that beautiful building, Sanctuary Suites, office towers here in Boca Raton, Florida. They found me. A new sponsor found me. Can you spot it on my shelf behind me? You're going to have to look real close. We're not sure if they're not a sponsor yet. They sent me some stuff to sample, and then we'll see. Pretty sure I'm sold, guys. Let's get it done. But we're still in the dancing phase, if that's what it is. I'm out of practice. Let's get some comments in here. The pot's light. 902-518-3033. Progressive Insurance text line. Switch to Progressive and you could save a bunch. Oh, my. Spring is for hockey. Fall is for football. Summer's for baseball. And CFL fits in there through all of that. John writes in, he says, the world needs more Arash. He is fantastic. I couldn't agree more. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta. I don't know why you don't like Vladdy, but I can't read your comment. You got to take that Vladdy hate out of here. And I mean, I don't know. I look for things from a lifetime in sports, but I think a lot of the viewers do too. You're smart. The fans are smart, but there's things that you see live that you don't see on television. And that's what I saw in Dunedin, and I really got to thank Brent Waltman, Brent from Wellington, Florida, that guy that took me out on the boat, and we caught that 40-pound sailfish. I was really watching Vladdy closely there, and I couldn't believe the grip that he has on that team, which, by the way, they are first place in the American League East. It's a positive thing. So just so you know, I do keynote speeches on leadership for years. I was leading the wrong way. You can lead the good way. I've seen it in sports. We see it in politics. We see it in business. There are bad leaders. Vladdy ain't that. He's a very positive, good leader. That whole team, everybody's looking in Vladdy's eye. I want to say Skipper John Schneider is too. It's Vladdy's team, and that's why I said from the start, give him what he wants. You got to pay your people if you believe in your people. I think we're all excited about the Blue Jays and where this could go. Kevin Gosman tonight, which, by the way, we are going to get to that. We've got breaking news on the Heavy Jim Sports Update here. A judge has upheld all charges against the driver charged with killing hockey players Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau while they were cycling in New Jersey. The ruling comes after defense lawyers Tuesday argued that the brothers may have contributed to their deaths by cycling while intoxicated. Judge Michael Silvanio says that's not relevant under New Jersey criminal law, and witnesses tell police they were riding single file on the edge of the road when driver Sean Higgins swerved around another vehicle and hit them last August. Prosecutors say Higgins was impaired by alcohol and fueled by road rage. Again, a judge has upheld all charges against the driver that killed the Gaudreau brothers. And just an aside, and a personal thing on that, my dad always said, do not ever pass on the shoulder of the road. Never. Not at night, not during the day. You never know what you're going to see out there, what you're going to find out there. This Sean Higgins didn't have a dad like mine, obviously. That one ain't going away, is it? Rory McIlroy is now part of the most elite club in golf with the career Grand Slam. The Masters made his dreams come true and gave him the final piece of the slam. It also gives him freedom to chase even more titles. He jokes about asking the media what they will ask him next year that he is the Masters champion. How about next month? The rest of the majors this year line up nicely for him. Is a calendar Grand Slam out of the question? For now, he's plenty satisfied with being on the Mount Rushmore of golf. There's a lot of people know a lot more about golf than me. Is Rory on the Mount Rushmore of golf? For me, it's Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Tiger Woods, and a fourth. I'm not sure it's Rory McIlroy, but maybe it is. What do I know? There are 10 games in the NHL tonight, including a must-win game for the Columbus Blue Jackets who visit the Philadelphia Flyers. If the Blue Jackets lose, the Montreal Canadiens will clinch the wild card spot, the final one in the East. Elsewhere, the Leafs visit Buffalo, the Senators host Chicago, and the Vegas Golden Knights visit the Calgary Flames, who are 2 points back of the playoff cut line in the West. By the way, somebody asked earlier, what happens if they end up tied with the Blues and the Wild? They got less wins than both. And even if they won their last two, they would still have less wins than both. So you can look it up yourself, by the way. I am not Wikipedia, and I'm not Google. Newsflash. You can look it up yourself. The Toronto Blue Jays will be looking to bounce back from yesterday's 8-4 loss to the visiting Braves when they face Atlanta in the second game of their three-game series tonight. Righty Kevin Gausman will be on the mound for the Blue Jays while the Braves counter with righty Spencer Schwellenbach. And the fifth full season of the NBA's play-in tournament starts tonight. The Orlando Magic host the Atlanta Hawks in the Eastern Conference, and the Golden State Warriors host the Memphis Grizzlies in the West. The winners will make the playoffs. Our Miami Heat down here play the Bulls in a play-in tomorrow. But we won't be talking a lot of playoffs here because NBA, because that's our poll question today for EMJ Marketing. Are you into the NBA playoffs? 88% of you saying no, you're not. So I'm keeping an eye on it. It's a very easy way to do market research. If you're not into it, I'm not going to talk about it. Heavy gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. Okay, now you've waited for it so patiently. Coming up next, overtime with whatever you would like to talk about. Get the Progressive Insurance text line rolling, 902-518-3033. We'll be right back with OT after this, here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever you enjoy.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center July 7th. With special guest Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Oops. Where did the time go? We're already in overtime. Brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes. I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of places tonight that are the center of the hockey universe, but Calgary, where Overtime Hockey Lanes resides, is one of them. I got up this morning and saw on Twitter my good friend Salim Valji, who we have not had on this program. Have we asked him, Clark? I'm not sure. All that time I spent in Calgary, okay. It's been a while. Okay. It's been a while. I saw him put on Twitter this morning, how are we feeling this morning, Calgary? And I love the response from the Calgarians, the Flames fans, the Flames Nation. They just got to win. That's all they can do. They got Vegas in there tonight, the Golden Knights, who have already clinched the banner, the division title. What kind of lineup are they going to dress? The Flames just got to handle their business. There shouldn't be any pressure on them at all. It's a great story what's going on in Calgary. Tampa Bay tonight, huge. Florida Panthers there. Panthers win. I think they'll nudge out Tampa for second place in the division, and then the Leafs will clinch first. The playoffs have started already, and I love it. Yeah. Anyways, they honor every NHL team at Overtime Hockey Lanes because I've been there multiple times. They've got plaques on the wall. Go check it out for yourself. And by the way, nobody does birthdays like Overtime Hockey Lanes either. I know Randy and Michelle are watching right now because they have us on every day. We're also on channel 924, TELUS Cable, and Rogers Shaw, channel 230. We're big all over Alberta and BC. Take my word for it. And go to Overtime Hockey Lanes, and you won't be disappointed. Take my word for that one, too. Darren in Melfort writes in, and he says, as far as NBA playoffs, on that, looking forward to Weyburn versus Melfort in the SJHL final, though. Well, and that's kind of the thing. Come here every day, and we'll be talking about it all. Aaron Crawford is a long snapper for the Calgary Stampeders, and he wrote me and said, what I love about your show the most is the variety. There's not a lot to stay up on top of all these things. I don't know if you people are staying on top of everything. Leave that to us. It's fun to dabble a little bit. Who doesn't love going to a buffet and having a little bit of everything? That's what we do here. We're not going to be going deep into the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League final here on this show. Doesn't mean I'm not following it. Doesn't mean the Weyburn Red Wings aren't going to the league final for the first time since 2012. And they haven't won it since 2001. Oh, yeah. I'm with you, Darren, on that one, but I'm not cheering for the Melfort Mustangs. Nope. Weyburn is my quasi-hometown. I got a lot of my love for my hockey in Weyburn. Listening to Trev Bell on CFSL radio, watching John Corrigan in goal with the Red Wings, Ron Amiot, Mike Spencer up front. Mark Spencer, sorry. It's only been 40 years. Scott is watching in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And says, wasn't there, he writes it on the Progressive Insurance text line. He says, wasn't there a plane crash in Boca Raton the other day? Yes, there was. As a matter of fact, well, I could look it up, how far it is. It was at the corner of Glades and Military, which means nothing to you, but it's probably at least 7 miles from where I'm sitting right now. 7 miles is quite a ways away. 3 people died. Plane was on its way to Tallahassee. Very sad story, but also just another day, typical day in Florida. It's quite a wild place. I was saying to Serena yesterday as we were driving to Sunrise, I still can't get used to people not wearing helmets on motorcycles. Blows my mind. but you don't have to. Something about Texas, Arizona, and Florida. They're all very wide open that way, and I feel very at home in all of those places, but especially here. Oh, and Scott has reminded me that the Blue Jays are a half game back of the Yankees. I got to talk to the Score. I used to work there 20 years ago. I see a few people still work there from when I did. They got to get their app figured out a little bit. Clark, are you a big fan of the Score? What's your go-to app for standing scores? Oh, you haven't? Enough for a while? Okay. Sportsnet. There you go. He says he's got Sportsnet Plus. Their app is a little behind sometimes. Like the next day, they have not totally updated things. And that's on me. I should know that the Blue Jays at 9 and 8 are a half game back of the Yankees. It wasn't updated on there. That's on me. John says variety is the spice of life. Rod does it the best. Thank you, John. Who's your favorite Spice Girl? Mine was always Baby Spice. John also says, I'm cheering for Calgary and Montreal to get into the playoffs. What are the chances they both do? Mathematically, probably not going to happen. That would make 6 teams in the playoffs. I believe I read this morning the last time that happened was 2017. Does that sound right? Oh, my God. Too many numbers. I got to take a break. All right, everybody. Bomber boy, go for a walk. Quit starting fights. See you all tomorrow, everybody.
Let's go beat up DuPont.
How about that? I like it.